Now let's talk about future casting. So, future casting is my way of talking about intentionally manifesting. So, remember, manifesting is not some like woo woo witchcraft hack. It is just manifesting. To say I'm manifesting is kind of weird because we are all manifesting all the time equally. We all have the same equal ability to manifest. Manifesting is just saying, hey, we live in an energetic universe and like energies attract like energies. So, whatever my energy is, I'm manifesting more. So, we're all equally manifesting all the time. So, when we're having the conversation that we're having here, it's not about how do you manifest, even though we usually shortcut it there, but it's how do we intentionally manifest? Do you see the difference? How do I intentionally
Mhm.
manifest? So it's
Mhm.
not whether you are manifesting or not. It's about are we intentionally manifesting? So, what does intentionally manifesting mean? If we understand that like energy attracts like energy, then manifesting means we are deciding and practicing the energy we want more of. So, to manifest is to decide if we've agreed that like energy attracts like energy. We're like, yeah, that makes sense. I saw the movie The Secret, it resonated, right? We basically all we're all like, yeah, we get this. This is not a foreign concept. It's not a big ask for me to understand that. However, something is usually gets worse. And if somebody is in a like fucking on fire, everything's on fire, right? People who have like massive successes, things happen, boom, boom, boom. So we drank the law of attraction Kool-Aid where we just said that law of attraction is just acknowledging that like energy attracts like energy. The law of attraction, a certain energy attracts more of that certain energy. That's all it is. So if that's the case, intentionally manifesting means intentionally practicing an energy we want more of. To manifest intentionally is to intentionally practice an emotion we want more of. Gosh, I feel like the pull from you guys that you even like want me to say this a couple more times because I haven't said it quite like this, right? Intentionally practicing a feeling we want more of. Intentionally practicing a feeling we want more of. So you might be like, oh, wait a minute, but I thought we are here to like manifest money, manifest the business, manifest juicy relationship. Kind of, kinda. Yes, and because we want all the things because we assume we will feel better in having them. So you think you are manifesting the business, you think you're manifesting the money, but what if I said, all right, what if I was like, I have a 5 year old, so I watch Disney movies, right? So what if I'm like Ursula, or what if I'm like this evil queen? And I said, you may have your business. You may have the business, but you will be sentenced to feeling a lifetime of shittiness, right? So if I was doing something like that, you'd be like, well, wait a minute. No, I don't actually care about the business or the money. If you're telling me, like, you're saying I can have the money, but then I'm going to forever feel like I don't have enough money. That's not really why I wanted the money. I really wanted the money so I could feel fucking on fire, so I could feel achievement, so I could feel abundance, so I could feel expansiveness, so I could do whatever I want. Why do you want to do whatever you want? Because you think it's going to be fun to do whatever you want, and you think it'll be amazing to not have to do anything if you don't want to do it, right? So everything you want is not actually because you want that thing. It's because you're assuming you are going to feel a certain way once you get it. And we can verify this by asking this, Disney evil witch question, which is, if I promised you the thing in return for you never liking it, would you still want it? And you'd be like, no, 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 no. You're missing the point. So we can then realize that we can then agree that, oh, yeah, like I don't actually care about the thing unless I fucking feel awesome having it. The assumption is having the thing will lead to feeling fucking awesome. So I think part of my TikTok, I haven't posted it yet today, but was one of the biggest mistakes or one of the biggest pivots I did in my manifesting, which was when I pivoted from manifesting things to manifesting emotions. Manifesting a wine importing business versus manifesting feeling really proud about my business. Do you see the difference? Do you remember the story? I manifested the wine importing business. I manifested the wine importing, the wine importing, the wine importing, the wine importing. And then I had the wine importing business and I was really good at it. I was like well known. I had distributors all around the country and launched in Mexico City. And I had technically had the wine importing business, but I felt like shit most days. I want to claw my eyeballs out. I felt like I had a brain fog. It felt like somebody literally poured chemical in my brain and I couldn't think. And most of my time was just reorganizing to-do lists. So it was like if somebody would have told me, hey, Alleah, you can have the wine importing business, but you're going to feel like shit. I would have been like, well, no, I don't want the wine importing business. What I really want is how I thought I would feel if I had the wine importing business. And I thought I would feel awesome. I thought I was going to get the money. I thought I would feel free. I thought I'd feel, proud because I like owned a business. I thought I'd feel like I thought other business owners felt. But that's not the case. So if we can all be on the same page that really we're here to manifest, yeah, and of course we're going to get, it's not that we practice the emotion of abundance just so we can feel it without the money. It's not saying we don't get the stuff. It's not saying we don't get the business. It's not saying we don't actually get the money. It's saying that if we're really real with ourselves, we want that feeling. And once we achieve the feeling, once that becomes dominant, then we can actually let all these things in. So it's never about just making ourselves satisfied without having it. We're going to get our shit. We get our shit. So it's not being like, oh, be satisfied without the shit. It's kind of like that for a hot second, but it's also because that's how we get the shit. So if we're all on the same page that really we want the emotion, we want the feeling of feeling expansive and proud and sexy and badass and moving through life with swagger and feeling like we fucking dominated it and that we like own the world and that like we're just living in this like magical place and we just want to feel proud and the satisfaction of having a beautiful home for our family and the satisfaction of seeing things tangibly unfold as a result of our energy, right? When we get into that zone of realizing that's what I want to look around and be in constant awe and constantly proud and constantly giggly over what is tactically manifesting and how juicy it all can be, then we realize that if we've drank this law of attraction Kool-Aid that says like energy attracts like energy, we now realize that it makes sense to start practicing that emotion now. To identify the juicy feelings of the shit we want and practicing it in the now. So then we're like, okay, cool, I get this. So it's my job then, like I said earlier, to practice the feeling we want more of. Practice the feeling we want more of. And not just the feeling, but practice the feeling we want more of. And as a direct result of yummy things happening in the life. So we then say, okay, I'm going to practice this feeling, but I'm just sitting here in the basement. I'm in a basement right now. I'm just sitting here in a basement. So how do I just all of a sudden start feeling that? Well, this is where the word visualization, I don't, it's an overused word, right? Everybody, oh, visualize what you want, visualize success, visualize the scoring a goal, right? Because it's not just in the visualization, it's that, but once we have a couple details of a vision that allows us to start sinking into, well, how would that actually feel? So this is what future casting is. Future casting is saying, can I take just a couple little details of a milestone in the future, a couple little details as an excuse to help me wiggle in wiggle around to find that yummy feeling. I like to have as little details in my vision as possible because for me personally, and this can be personal preference, like some people, they go deep and they can like really explain what they want in a piece of paper and it's really detailed. When I go really detailed, I start having doubt or I start getting wishy-washy on the how. And so for me, for me, what I like to do is I like to have, like, if I was like squinting into the future, right? If I was just squinting and just kind of like saw myself successful or at the next level of success, what are just a couple details of that milestone? What are a couple details? So, for instance, if you're like squinting into the future and like really what you want is a successful business, right? And you're squinting, you're just squinting. So you can only see a few little details. You'd be like, all right, well, I'd be making like, I don't know, 30 grand a month, 20 to 30, 30 to 50, 50 to 100, like whatever it is for you, right? Well, I'd be making some amount of money, some range of money. I'd be really fucking proud. It would feel like everything's dialed in. And God, it would just like, I would just be like standing in my kitchen or standing on my deck, feeling really proud, right? So a couple of little details. So if you guys can kind of think about what's a milestone, a juicy milestone that might be a good future cast. So here's what we want to do. We want to find something juicy as big as we can go before it seems unbelievable. So we're not trying to, so if you're like, I want to be a billionaire, that could be like, that could feel like too big, right? That could initiate, if you start thinking and trying to future cast being a billionaire, likely there'd be like this essence of like, oh, but how? Ugh, but like, I doubt it. Or, ugh, that's going to take like a really, really long time. However, if you pulled it back and only future casted you making $2,000 or $5,000 more a month, that may not be juicy enough to get you excited. That may not get a sneaky little smile on your face because your life wouldn't change that much. Your life wouldn't change that much. So we then kind of need to find, okay, what would genuinely be fucking awesome milestone that you'd just be like, fuck yes. What's a genuine milestone? For me in the very beginning, when I started future casting, that genuine milestone was just paying off my student loan debt. Right. But for me, where I had held that debt for 10 years and had so much guilt to it that for me personally, the idea of paying the last check, the idea of the last check was huge for me. At that point, it wouldn't have been available to me to even manifest 10,000, to even visualize $10,000 a month because that was kind of too far away. But this juicy milestone of just like paying the last check, I could feel in my body was the most exciting vision. Like that was more exciting to me than making money, like than actually just like having a salary or like making money per month. So that for me. So, but then you kind of get there. So then you might end up then wanting to future cast a number that feels really good. That just feels like, yeah, that would be awesome. So maybe what would be awesome, like depending on where you're starting up, if you're starting off like just launching a business and there's zero revenue and you're not paying yourself anything at all, then like the idea of being able to pay yourself 8 grand a month could be fucking amazing, right? That could be like 8 grand a month could be like this shoot, like really fucking awesome milestone because it means like, God, the business is up and running and now it's just like sustainable. And now I can kind of like focus on growing it from like, some other stance. Now, but only you on the inside can genuinely see like what would light me the fuck up. Now, if you're kind of like rocking and rolling in your business and you're making 10 grand a month, future casting 15 or 20 grand may not be that exciting because okay, it's like some it might be a little bit more money, but you might be ready to it's kind of like there's an exponential thing. Like the more you manifest, the further away you can go. It's like logarithmic. Do you know what that means? So it's like if you're at zero, $5,000 might be something you can future cast. But if you're at 5,000, you know, 10 or 15,000 might be something you can future cast. But if you're at 10 or 15, you might be able to do 30 or 50. And if you're at 30 or 50, you might be able to do 200, right? So it's kind of like, it just kind of depends. So the point I'm trying to drive home is that there's no virtue in having any particular number, because remember, the universe isn't really paying attention to whether you're saying 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, a million a month, or 10 million a month. It's not really picking up on that detail of English, 10, 20, 30. It's picking up on this pulse of energy that you get when you think about it. So if there's a possibility that your pulse of energy could be bigger with a lower number. So you might want to play around with it. Put a bunch of numbers on a piece of paper, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, 250, 250,000. We're talking about a month, right? A million a month. Write these numbers down, and then you can look at it, and then you can feel your way in. Okay, is it available to me to feel into 5,000 a month? And you might be like, yeah, but that's so fucking low. What are you supposed to do with $5,000 a month? Nothing. Okay, let me go. 10,000. Okay, yeah, that feels fine, but like still, that's not going to change my fucking life. Okay, let me keep going. 15,000. Okay, yeah, that feels good. Let me go. 20,000. That feels, oh yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. 50,000. No, how the fuck's that supposed to happen, right? So you're looking at identifying a couple of details for your future cast. And I just like having money as one of them. However, you don't have to really have a specific number. It's not really a rule, but having a number does allow us to be intentionally making sure our abundance vibration is going up. However, you could substitute it out for like sitting in your office looking at your computer fucking laughing over how much it is. And you don't even really know how much it is, right? Like, so your future cast could be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm making this amount of money. I can't believe it. This is so awesome. This is so awesome. This is so good. So good. Ooh, I feel so proud I've made it here without actually using a number. So you could do that.